guys, it's that short guy, and today I want to make a quick video about the 10 most important tools I used to rebuild the Cadillac ATS-V and the Salvage Corvette C8. I'm going to try to keep this as short as possible, and I'll just kind of give you guys a rundown of what I used and where I bought them, the pricing, and I'm going to start from least expensive to most expensive. Alright, so let's get started. So the least expensive tool on this list that's a must-have is a hammer and dolly set. I got mine off Amazon. It was $100. It's a 7-piece hammer and dolly set, and you're going to need this to reshape metals, bend a wheel lip liner, take out dents. There's going to be many uses that you'll find for a hammer and dolly set, and I believe this is one of the must-have tools for an at-home, do-it-yourself, amateur rebuild car project. Number 2 in this list are impact drivers. I would say most people who own homes already have a set of impact drivers. You kind of need these to do home projects and fix things around the house. But this really was a very common use tool that I had to use for the ATS-V and the Corvette rebuild. Here I am using Ingersoll Rand. You can see that this is a 1/4 chuck driver. Then I have a 3/8 inch and then a 1/2 inch, and basically I use each for different things. Like this is for taking off wheel lug nuts, this one's for general purpose work. It's not as strong. These have different torque ratings, and you can also control how slow or fast you want them. And obviously the smaller ones, the least strongest of the three, and this is also the cheapest. This one runs $143 off Amazon. These two are close to the $500 range. But really, you don't need this many. I like to keep more on hand because it's quicker for me when I like work to have multiple drivers on hand. It's not necessary, like I said, it's not necessary, but these are definitely a must-have for any DIY car repair at your house and your home garage. Like I said, I really like Ingersoll Rand, but let me say this: if I were to do it all over again, I probably would have gone with Makita, because as I acquire more tools in my garage, I realize I don't like to have so many different battery chargers. And so what I'm finding out is that Makita is a very good premium brand, and they actually have a wide range of tools that use the same battery pack, even more than Ingersoll Rand. And you know, that's just preference, but I love the brand, don't get me wrong, it's a great brand. The third must-have tool for your at-home DIY salvage rebuild are a set of angle grinders. You don't really need to have two. I have two because I like to have one set with a cutting wheel and another one set with a strip disc. But these are from Makita. They're brushless motors. They ran about, I believe, $150. I will post a link. They are phenomenal. These are a must-have. You need to use these to cut sheet metal off the car and then strip away structural adhesives, seam sealer, and strip away paint so you can see where the spot welds are. I do suggest you get from Amazon as well is a Black Hawk strip disc. This is a 4.5 inch. I use this extensively, and also use the Makita 5 inch by 0.0032 inch cutting disc. It's very thin. It allows you to get a very precise cut, and it really cuts through the sheet metal like butter. Awesome. The fourth tool on this list is the Makita belt sander. I believe they just recently released this. It costs $279. You can get it offline. I believe I got this one off ToolWorld, but I believe Amazon sells it now. When I got it, they had just launched this. So these are definitely relatively new. Ingersoll Rand also has one, but this thing is amazing. You're gonna use this all the time to grind down spot welds so you can take the damaged panel off. I use this extensively with an 80 grit belt. And one thing I really like about Makita is that I had an old Makita extractor that I used for wood projects, and when I was belt sanding, I noticed a lot of the fumes, like when you're sanding down metal, it really smells really bad in the garage. So you'll see, I'll put a clip and you'll see me wearing a respirator. But in order to reduce the amount of smell and shavings, you can actually hook up the Makita extractor to it. And these things are great. I mean, there's an attachment that I have, and it'll allow you to hook it up to the belt sander so you'll reduce the amount of metal shavings and stuff crap getting into the air. So it filters out really well. And the beauty, but this is optional though. I'm not saying that this is necessary. These are expensive and they are HEPA filtered. But the great thing about Makita line is that it also uses the same battery packs as every single tool. So it's just phenomenal. The way they thought this through is really great. So I highly suggest this tool. So the fifth tool on this list that I find really important to have for your home garage are these, what they call them are wheel hub stands. And these are from 928 Motorsports. For all four, it runs $629. I found myself using these extensively. The reason why that you kind of need these when you do body work is that if I had the Ranger Quick Jack under there, you're actually covering some of the parts where the entire uniside or even the quarter panel actually meets the weld point. So it's better to have the car on these stands. Depends on where the damage is, obviously, but it's better to have all the car on the stands. You can take the wheel liner off, the jacks are out, the Ranger Quick Jacks is out of the way, and you can get to work on it. So these are really, really good. I really highly suggest these. The quality is amazing, and this fits a multiple line of cars. The sixth most important tool that I found myself using for both repairs is the Flex Dual Action Polisher. Now at the time when I bought this, it was actually closer to $600, but I bought it as a set with multiple pads. The tool itself alone now seems to have gone down in price. It's $435. You can buy it from multiple vendors. I bought mine from autogeek.net. This is whether you want to do car repairs or not, guys, this is worth the investment. You can use this to polish your car, wax your car. You know, even before I started doing car repairs, I had bought this tool just to detail cars. Flex actually recently came out with a really cool cordless version. I'm a cordless guy. I'm all about just using batteries and not relying on the plug. I hate having to drag these plugs around. So check that out if you can get one of those. I highly recommend the Flex brand. It is made in Germany. It will cost you a little bit more, but it's definitely easier to work with and manage. The seventh must-have tool that any auto repair, DIY, salvage builder guy should have is a Ranger Quick Jack. Now I know the upfront cost is really high. It's $1,635. I've had mine for 5 years, and I can tell you that it's definitely paid for itself in the numerous jobs that I've done with it. I never take my car to the dealer for maintenance. It's very rare that I do. And this just works a lot better than having to take the time to put your car on 4 jack stands. If you're doing extensive car work and you're forget body work, forget repairing cars, if you're just maintaining your own car, you will find the Ranger Quick Jack super handy. I will throw a montage together, you'll see, of just how many vehicles I've raced with this car and used with this Ranger Quick Jack system. 5 years, solid as a rock. I've never had an issue with it. I trust it, it's safe, and it's gonna help you do a lot of stuff with your vehicles. So I highly recommend the Ranger Quick Jack. I'm not the only YouTuber that uses this. They have an awesome following. Ranger Quick Jack is probably, they really revolutionized the DIY car solution. It's just amazing. Highly recommend. The eighth must-have tool for any auto DIY repair at home is a MIG welder. I went with the MillerMatic 221. It cost me about $1,550. You can buy it direct from the manufacturer. I did a lot of research and I just found that this one was best suited to my needs. It is convertible between 240 and 120 volts if you don't have a 240 available in your garage. It pretty much comes with everything you need to get going. The only thing you might need to buy is a different kind of wire. I use 0.023 for my auto stuff. But you're going to need a MIG welder whenever you do the butt joints. Whenever you join the new panel to the old existing panel, you're going to have to fill that little gap in with solid steel wires. So yes, this is an absolute must-have for any body repair. And really, welding's kind of fun. So I mean, you can get creative. I was thinking about doing a few motorcycle projects and maybe building some different kind of crash guards configuration or an aux gas tank. So you know, a welding thing can be used not just for auto repair, but there's probably a lot of things you can use it for around the house. So I highly suggest one of these. The ninth most important tool on this list was a really hard decision for me. It's kind of an optional tool, but the more I thought about it, the more I realized it's kind of a mandatory tool. And people can disagree with me on this, but most cars made 2014 and up are all structural adhesive welded together and spot welded through the structural adhesive. You know, I see a lot of YouTuber rebuilders, they don't spot weld. What they'll do is they'll buy the brand new panel and they'll punch holes through it and they'll do plug weld, make plug welds through the entire thing. But that's not what the shop manual says. For the ATS-V rebuild, I bought the full volume. I spent $500 with helmet and bought the entire service manual, and you absolutely have to add structural adhesive according to the GM manual. If you want to do the repair right, you have to add structural adhesive and you have to spot weld through it. So with that being said, you can't use a MIG welder. You can't actually do a plug weld on the panels. That's why I went with the Lenco spot welder. It's not cheap, it's $1,099, and then to add every attachment, the spot welding attachment, this is the Unispot III, it costs another $509. I also bought the hammer puller as well. So if you need to pull out larger dents, you can use this Lenco spot welder as well. I think this is a great tool, and to be honest with you, I think it's a must-have investment. If you're going to work on late model cars, I really suggest you get it because you're going to have to add the 3M structural adhesive, and then you're going to have to spot weld through that. And the only way to do that is really with the spot welder. I don't think this is unreasonably expensive, but I really think it's important to do the job right. But with that being said though, honestly, if you're buying a car and you plan to drive it yourself, you do whatever you want. I mean, it's not going to hurt anything. I think you can still get away with MIG welds. Just if you want to follow the ORIENT procedures, I really highly suggest you invest your money in a spot welder to do the job right. And honestly, it makes the job easier. You don't have to punch holes. You don't have to mess with doing a plug weld. It's a little bit more straightforward. So, yeah. Complicated paint. It wasn't like the tri-coat on the ATS-V, so this one's easier, it's more forgiving. But yeah, there it is. That's the paint on the, that's just a comparison of the paint on the hood to the paint on this fender here that I painted. The bumper is original as well. Original, painted, the entire side was painted. And you can see that automotive touch-up, like again I said, they did a good job in mixing the paint for me. And last but not least, I think the 10th most important tool that you're going to need to complete your DIY auto salvage rebuild is some kind of HVLP paint gun sprayer. You could use the compressor with the traditional gun, but if you're like me and you kind of needed these tools, I went with the turbine type sprayer. This is a 2-stage turbine, and it allows you to control the amount of air pushing out of the end of the nozzle. I really highly suggest you buy the most powerful one you can buy. I went ahead and went with FujiSpray. It's a Q5 Platinum, and it's going to allow you to. It's going to spray hard enough to atomize the paint and clear coat. It also came with the T75G gun. It cost me $1,469 from Amazon. I went ahead and bought a second T75G gun. One's really for paint primers. The other one's just dedicated for clears only. I had a reviewer. Some people suggested to use a 1mm tip for clear coat. Fuji even suggests that, so next time I do some clear coat spraying, I'll probably switch to a 1mm clear coat, but I do have a 1.8 and a 1.3, which is what I use to spray base coat and stuff like that. So I really had to suggest this one. I don't think it's unreasonably priced. And also, I'm going to use this to redo my fence and also restain my the outside of my window. There's these little wooden frames that go around my window. So this is just not, you don't have to just use it for car use. Don't look at it that way. You can use it to spray your fence. You can use it for a lot of other hobbies, repairing furniture, respraying furniture and whatnot. So it has multi-uses, but I went with Fuji. It's a Q5 Platinum.